All right, welcome back to Blue Collar Takes. I'm Pat.
And I'm Ben.
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah.
Well, we start off with the biggest thing of the day, I guess, is the Iranian President's helicopter going down.
Yeah, man, that's a crazy story, right? I mean, with all the stuff that's going on with Israel, all of a sudden to have this happen in the middle of all of it.
Well, and then you just had the Slovakian the assassination attempt on the Slovakian Prime Minister.
There's going to be some big implications coming out of all this. Either things change or they get worse, or will they stay the same?
I don't know. Do you think this was just weather?
It's so hard to... I mean, when you see the photos of the helicopter crash, I mean, when the initial reports were it was a hard landing, right? I mean, we saw that right away. And anybody from military circles... Well, I mean,
that's coming from Iran, though, right?
Right, but that's the same thing they put out in every military circle. Sure. We do a really good job in the United States of not giving any information when a bird goes down. Because, I mean, you either come down safe in a helicopter or you don't. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
So you could tell there's no debris field. I mean, if you think back to the Kobe Bryant, tragedy, that helicopter wreckage was strewn across that mountain because it came down hard into that mountain, right? Yep. That's a hard landing where the helicopter breaks apart on impact. This thing was lawn darted into the side of the mountain on this. So that tells me engine failure. I mean, that would be... We talked about it yesterday when this first started breaking, how when a helicopter loses its lift capability and engine failure, the first thing the pilot does is put the nose towards the ground and gain airspeed to continue that lift for the helicopter, right?
Right.
So this tells me that a couple things. They made a very, very terrible error in flying in the weather that they were in. When you saw the videos of
like the rescuers trying to go, you can't see anything.
Well, and the thing is, that's not just fog. I mean, that's a cloud that's on the ground because you're in the mountains, right? So the United States military, unless you're part of SOAR, the Special Operations Wing of Aviation, you're not flying in that kind of conditions because of this, because there is no chance for you to drop the nose of the aircraft and gain speed and gain lift if there's an event of an engine failure. In the mountains, you're going to die. I mean, that's what happens. They shouldn't have been flying, and to me, this seems like mechanical failure or pilot error, and they just lawn darted into the mountain. He probably, if it was mechanical failure, he lost his engine. He put his nose down like he's trained to do, and there just wasn't enough room. He couldn't see.
Yeah.
And he ended up, I mean, that wreckage, the debris field is like 20 feet, which tells me that the whole bird just went down nose first. You just see a tail section that's left, right?
Yeah.
So everybody else that was flying there's reports of multiple helos that were in the air at the time. They knew instantly. I mean, you would see the fog light up from the wreckage. So, I mean, they knew that it was a bad crash.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that there was 3 helicopters, I think is what was reported.
Yep.
And the other 2 just kept flying.
Well, you can't really do anything,
I guess.
Right? I mean, you can't. At that point, you could try to touch down, but it's on a mountainside, right?
Yeah.
It's fog. The first one just went down. You're experiencing some kind of issue. And then you have protocol, right? So if a bird is taken down, you don't know what caused the engine trouble. You don't know if it was small arms fire. You don't know if it was some kind of weapon that was deployed against you. He's a president. So if you have other dignitaries on the other birds, they don't put everybody on one bird, right? I mean, that's why they were split up. But you don't know what it is, so you keep going. I mean, you have to, for them, they probably gained altitude and just kind of tried to leave the area. They reported it as best they could. They gave the grid, and they knew it was a bad crash. I'm sure they could see the wreckage. They could see the flame from the wreckage in the fog. That had to light up pretty bright. So,
but like you said, there's only the tail left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How could the debris field be that small and not have a big chunk of the plane of the cabin?
That's the problem, right? So when this pilot, that's what leads me to believe either he didn't see the mountain and just crashed straight into the side of the mountain, or he lost his engine, right? And he did what he's supposed to do, put his nose to the ground and try to gain speed to keep lift. No matter what in the mountains, if you lose your engine in the mountains, it's bad because helicopters have so much torque with their rotors, right? So if you get to the ground and you're tipping one way or the other, you're going to bury that rotor in the ground, or you're going to continue to roll. And that's the thing. If you're coming in fast, you skid and roll. Or if you're coming in slow with no rotor and you can land on a flat surface, you're usually all right, right? But in this one, it just seems like he lost lift and put his nose down, and he didn't have enough room because they couldn't see where the ground was. It also tells you a little bit of inexperience with flying, with with their instruments, right? So a lot of pilots in third world countries, I don't know the extent of their training. I would assume they're decent pilots, but pilots here have to pass visual flight recognition, and they have to fly with their instruments. So you see planes that won't. There's some pilots that aren't licensed to just fly instruments. They're only licensed to fly with visual recognition of where the ground is. So in inclement weather, they can't go up. You don't know. You don't know what the pilot's level of experience was. But, I mean, you look at it this way. If we're in Afghanistan and we're in the middle of the mountains and we're in a firefight and we're calling for air support and the weather's like that, air support doesn't show up. If we're calling for medevac, medevac's not showing up, right? If you're in Iraq and you're in the middle of a sandstorm and the weather's like that, visibility is so low, nobody's coming for you. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Until the weather lifts. That's just how it is. And that's a decision that the government makes, right? That's kind of like a protocol. You're putting more people in danger, more lives in danger. Now, it's different for, like I was saying, the Special Operations Aviation Unit, SOAR. Those guys are a different breed, man. They fly in anything, anywhere, anytime. They don't care. But it would be interesting to get some of their takes on what they think happened, because this does sound like a Kobe Bryant type crash, right?
Yeah, the wreckage of the two are just so different.
Yeah, and that's because Kobe's pilot was complete pilot error on his part, right? He didn't understand where the mountain was. The fog made him disoriented, and he crashed going into the mountain, and still had speed going forward, right?
Sure.
This seems like it was more of the bird came down and straight into the mountain.
Okay.
And that's either on the pilot's behalf or it's on the aircraft's behalf. Knowing the third world, I shouldn't say third world, a lot of the more poor countries, the military equipment they have is hot trash. I mean, a lot of it's garbage.
A lot of it, they can't get a lot of it because of sanctions.
Correct. So. And this bird looked decent from pictures that we've seen. I've seen actual videos of him in this bird. It's not anywhere near like a Marine One type aircraft, but
yeah.
But it looked like a decent bird. But then you just have to wonder upkeep. You have to wonder, are they recording mechanical problems, or are you telling your president or your commanding officer that the helicopter's broken and I can't fix it, or are you just like, hey, I don't want my head cut off, so I'm going to let you get in this helicopter and whatever happens, happens. Either way, somebody's getting their head cut off for that helicopter crash.
Well, unless he was on the bird.
Right. My initial worry was, oh my God, this is going to get blamed on Israel, and we're going to
for sure. I think it's still somebody's still going to.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely a possibility, and especially when Israel's response was, yeah, oh well, too bad for him.
Well,
like he's the butcher, right? So
yeah,
it's a scary thought. I mean, I know some of the Iranian hardliners were really upset over the attack on Israel because they thought it wasn't hard enough. It didn't go hard enough, right? They were worried or angry that Turkey was involved, right? Iran had involved Turkey and said, hey, just so you know, we're launching a whole bunch of missiles and drones at Israel.
Right, and Turkey notified us.
Turkey turns around and notifies the United States because we're allies, and the United States turns around.
They don't want to get on our bad side.
Correct. So now that, there was a lot of speculation going around. Was this an inside job? Was this, I think we can alleviate all that with the fog. It's either a mechanical or a...
Yeah, looking at all the different videos from all over the region, like, it wasn't even close to decent weather.
No,
like you said, that's the best description. It looks like a cloud. You're in a cloud.
That's what it is. You're up in the mountains. You're at that elevation. That is exactly what it is. It's a cloud that's touching the ground.
It's so bad they had to walk.
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't.
Well, it was so bad when the rescue teams got out there, they were using ropes from their rescue vehicles going down the mountain just so they could find their way back up to their rescue vehicles.
Yeah.
And that says all you need to know. They knew, everybody knew who was responding to that there was no survivors. It's a mountainous region, and...
Well, again, it's Iran, right? So, there was, at one point, 8 hours into it, they said that there was communication going back and forth from the crash site. From the crash site.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of communication.
There's nothing left.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of communicating going on there. That's...
Smoke signals.
But... even in our media, we get a lot of stuff wrong, right? The first report comes out, and I'm pretty sure the communication that was taking place, one of those birds probably circled over the crash site because you were seeing fire and flame from that. There's no doubt about it. And I'm sure they were saying it went down hard. And military term is down hard. That means it's gone, right?
Okay.
So if that's what they were saying in their own dialect, he's down hard. If you're a media personnel listening on a radio, you could say it was a hard landing, or
sure.
And everybody's trying to alleviate some of the fear, some of the angst in the whole situation until you get more information. But right off the bat, you either come down safe or you don't in a helicopter.
Well, that's the hard part. It was right away that they had dispatched the Revolutionary Guard to protect all the government buildings. It was instant.
Yep, and that's what they do, right? I mean, there's a section of Iran that is not fond of this leadership. There were celebrations last night. I've seen
fireworks
videos of people celebrating the death of this individual, but you don't know if it's because now the hardliners are going to go more hardline, or if it's the people who want to be free.
The people that were all just
persecuted, and
all the protesters that were.
So you don't know who it is at this point, and it's gonna be crazy. The stability of the country is in question. And I think what you're going to see is a harder line policy towards Israel, more support for Hamas, and that's how they're going to rally their bases, right? It's just like Biden or Trump rallying their base.
Yeah.
So they're going to do a lot of saber rattling, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of days.
This is going to be crazy.
It is going to be crazy.
But just like all the events, I know we were going to do something else, but maybe we'll just stay on it. All the events going around right now in that area.
Mm-hmm. It's setting up right now. I mean, this is setting up to be a nightmare for Biden. Everybody knows the guy's dementia-ridden. He's not leading this country. I mean, if there's anybody out there who thinks at this point that Biden's leading the country, you're an absolute moron. I mean, the guy can barely walk 10 feet without turning around to say, where the hell am I supposed to go?
Well, have you seen that video of the two different Bidens? Like the one that blinks and the one that doesn't?
No.
There's I'll have to find it and show you later. But he literally is talking, and one, it doesn't look like the other one. They're side-by-side screens.
Like a body double?
Or AI.
Could be. Absolutely. You could definitely, at this stage of the game, AI, you could make videos, which is probably why. I mean, you definitely could have that capacity, right? And make him look less vulnerable. Mm-hmm. But you can't fake what's going on in the speeches. He goes and he delivers an address. He stumbles through it. Everybody's seen it. He can't remember what he's saying. He screws up now reading the teleprompter. He turns into friggin' Ron Burgundy while he's reading the teleprompter and just says everything on there, right?
Yeah, he's done that before, though, too.
Yeah, he has. He's not exactly a genius. He's never been a genius.
Right.
He's always been full of crap, and he's just it's just who he is as a guy. But it's sad at this point. I mean, you keep rolling him out there, and honestly, he should be living in a retirement center. He should be living his golden years, the last few years of his life, not running a country at 10% capacity. But we all know he's not running the damn country. Everybody knows that at this point. And if you think he is, I'm sorry, but you need to wake up, because that's a fallacy. He can't even find his way off stage after he gives an address.
He gets lost on the White House lawn.
Right.
They're telling him where to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen numerous Secret Service members have to come up and guide him off, or it's a member of Congress, or it's whoever he's with at the time will kind of grab him, or Jill Biden comes on stage and leads him off, because he can't find his way off stage right now. I mean, he's so far advanced in terms of dementia that, just like every other dementia patient, he's going to have good days and he's going to have bad days. And his bad days, he's in Delaware taking vacations when they see it, and they let him rest, and then he comes back and they pump him full of whatever it is they give dementia patients to try to, stem the tide. And he comes out and he gives an address, and you see still, even on his good days, it's bad. It's not like we haven't even seen his bad days yet. They only let us see his good days, and this is what you're seeing in good days, right? And it's not good for us. It's not good for the country. I mean, you have Israel in the middle of a war with Hamas. You got Biden lying to Israel, saying that he can provide them intelligence if they don't go in to go after Hamas, to take out Hamas leaders. He never had that intelligence. I mean,
yeah, that would have already been given.
Of course it would have.
Yeah.
They could have avoided everything, right? You have whoever's behind Biden, his advisors, his GS people that are, government service people that are giving him information. They should be fired. I don't even know what do you say? I mean, at some point you should step down if you know you're this far gone, right? And you can see him get lost. It's just like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell's doing the same stuff where he just locks up and looks like a turtle on, not even, has no idea what's going on.
That's crazy too.
And I mean, it comes down to just the way this works. These people stay in power. They try to stay in power as long as they can, and they just, to the benefit of who? It's not helping the country. It's just the benefit of themselves, right? And not even to them. It's not even a benefit to himself right now. This guy should be in Delaware. He should be living out his last days, peacefully with his family, doing whatever. Instead, his son's in the news for being a crackhead and everything that he's done, and he's in the news for being corrupt and all this other stuff. And then he goes out and gives a speech and stumbles his way through. And it's like, at some point, dude, you got to be put out to pasture at some point. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I would be saying the same thing if it were Donald Trump and Donald Trump was in that situation.
Well, the difference between the two of them, just
Trump is sharp as a tack.
Yeah,
this guy is.
Yeah, but that's everyone knows someone who's that age.
Yeah,
or two people that are just like that. One looks like they're 50, right, and the other one looks like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good for us, right? I mean, it's not Russia and Ukraine. You got China, who's probably gonna start moving on Taiwan soon. You've got Iran and everybody going through Israel, wanting to go to Israel, the Middle Eastern countries that are in support of Palestine. You've got our protesters here that aren't going to side with Biden because he's not going hard enough on Hamas or on Israel. You've got all the conservative people that are anti-Biden. I mean, this is it's a freaking hotbed right now. We are being led into the dungeon, if you will, in terms of foreign policy. Nobody respects us anymore. I mean, if they respected us, Iran never would have launched missiles at Israel if Trump was president, right? Because Trump's a hardliner. They never would have done it if George W. Bush was president. Not a chance. I don't even think they would have done it if Obama was president. But Joe Biden, you get a pass, right? I mean, you can't really lead from a position of weakness, and that's where Biden is right now. And I mean, they're doing everything they can, it seems like, to weaken every structure we have, right? Military and everything else. So I don't know. It's hard to believe. And now all of a sudden, right now Biden's taking a page out of Trump's playbook. He's going to pretend to be tough with China, right? So you're starting to see all this crap play out.
It's hard to be tough with China when they've given your family so much money.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the corruption. I mean, who knows?
And that's out there. That's not.
Yeah, that's not even
it's not even debatable.
You can't say
they've gotten millions of dollars from China.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, not if you're MSNBC, not if you're CBS, ABC, sure, Reuters, the BBC. They're all saying that that's not true. They're all. I mean, they come out and they say all these things, and the documents are out there. I mean, it's a well documented amount of corruption. But what the left does is they're going to flip it around and be like, well, yeah, well, look at Trump.
Yeah,
Trump's in jail right now. Trump's going to prison. Trump's this. Trump.
Yeah.
And it's
Trump doesn't have 21 shell companies or however many it was.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, something's got to give, right? At some point, something's got to give. And I don't know. I just don't see it happening right now. It's a scary thing too, because you can see the powder keg that's out there waiting to be ignited. And for a prior military guy, I look at things around the world in terms of potential ambushes. And you look at things like China, right? Why haven't they gone into Taiwan? What's stopping China from going into Taiwan? It's not Biden. It's not the U.S. military. There's nothing stopping them. So they're stopping themselves. The only thing that's stopping China is the fact that our economy or our money props up theirs, right? So they need our consumers to continue to buy their products. And I think they're kind of hanging back, waiting. And then you see China and Russia all chummy, right? There's a relationship there that they have. China's playing the long game to weaken the United States. We're spending ourselves into a ridiculous, oblivion, really, with our fiscal irresponsibility, right? We're going to be $40-something trillion in debt by the time Biden's out of office.
Man.
We're not going to have Social Security by the time we reach that age. That's going to be a thing of the past. We're still going to be paying for it because we're paying for everybody else's.
Of course.
But we're not going to have it. I mean, we're in trouble. and it's only getting worse. So like, you see the symptoms of the time. Now you have what's going on, breaking news. Like we're talking about the helicopter crash, and it's kind of it's one of those things where you throw your hands up in the air and you're like, well, what next? What's going to happen now? Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? So we'll have to see. It's just a wait and see type thing. I have the same thought process about this election, man. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Does Trump win? Does Trump lose? Does Biden win? Does Biden lose? I mean, does Biden even get a chance to run? Are they going to replace him the last second and try to do like a bait and switch? And
I thought they were going to, but I don't know.
I don't
like
either.
why they're having this debate in June,
Yeah.
and it's so early. Like there's still primaries going on.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you have it early? It gives your voters with
Well,
short
it
memory
also
time to
gives
forget.
them a chance to change the nominee before the
Correct.
at the convention.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. We're so screwed right now. It's unbelievable. And it's not, the thing that pisses me off the most is by no means are you and I wealthy. You know what I mean? We're blue collar as blue collar can be, right? And so is everybody we work with. So is everybody that surrounds themselves with us. It's us that are struggling. You know, it's not Biden. It's not people that are in the administrations. It's not, those people aren't struggling. It's us. It's the middle class that's, you know, really the ones that are feeling the squeeze. I mean, you go to the grocery store, it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Gas is freaking ridiculous. Unless you live on in a place where you're connected, right? I mean, it just, I don't know. Seems like at every side, everywhere I turn, I'm getting screwed, right? I'm paying 40% in taxes. I'm paying way more than I should for gas. I'm paying way more than I should for every freaking thing that I'm buying, because there's a trickle-down effect. When gas prices raise, everything else goes up because of the cost of delivery, right? The cost of making things. So, I mean, we're getting screwed. And then you hear, I'm just so freaking sick of being lied to that, oh, well, the inflation's not my fault. It was the guy before me's fault. No, it's everyone's fault.
And nobody holding anyone accountable for the numbers that they know are bad.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if we were this bad at our job? I mean, just think about this. It's not us that's bad at our job. We're great at our job. It's maybe those around us.
At least everyone in this room thinks so.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, think about that. I mean, for anybody listening, if you were as bad, if your report card came back as poor as Biden's report card has come back, you'd be fired. You'd be gone.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to keep that job. But in the government agencies, I mean, look at that bull crap with frickin' AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that crap that's going on. Girl, baby, girl. Like, for
all the trash, like
Lord.
And the bringing up the fake eyelashes. Like, what are you doing?
Why?
Yeah,
what
is
your
the point?
What is your point?
Well, it goes back to, we talked about it a long time ago. What was the Colorado rep's name?
Boebert.
Yes.
Boebert, yeah.
In the movie theater, or the theater.
Yeah, what are
you
thinking?
Doing? What are you in high school?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to, like, cut these people down. I'm trying not to be judgmental, but in this situation, when you're a public figure and you're acting like trash,
yes.
If you're out there acting like trash, well, that tells me you're probably trash.
Right.
And I get there's a lot of animosity going back and forth between right and left. I mean, they have taken just as many swipes at Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh.
To where she's now it's open season. She's going to say whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's done a decent job. I think she's honest. I think she's trying to be.
I think she's honest with her opinions, right? But I don't think she's done a great job, because I like calling for the speaker to be removed every 3 hours. Like, how are you want to remove these people and then you put nobody up.
But here's the thing with that too. They want Jim Jordan as a speaker. That's who they want. Jim Jordan's about as straight-laced and honest a guy in the House that you can get, right? That's who they want. Mm-hmm. Jim Jordan doesn't have the support of the establishment, so the rhinos.
Yep.
And I would say, honestly, the majority of Republicans really aren't freaking Republicans. They're beholden to special interest groups. So you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, that side of the aisle, the Tea Party side of the aisle, that really wants to fix the fiscal irresponsibility, really wants to have accountability. And then you've got the establishment people that play the game, like the Lindsey Grahams and those types.
Don't even get me started on Lindsey Graham.
Well, these are the people that are there that say what needs to be said to be elected and then do nothing, right? So, I mean, I can't imagine. I'm frustrated at work we've talked about, just work stuff. I'm frustrated at work because I might be on that far right side of our work group, not politically, but and I'm frustrated with people not doing what they're supposed to do, right? And when that happens, I mean, I'm not resorting to personal attacks with people and getting angry, but But when you're trying to lead a nation, you're trying to lead a country, and it's just as ridiculous as it is. I mean, when Fetterman got elected, I thought it was an absolute joke because of his brain injury, right? Yeah. Because of his illness.
Yeah.
The guy's a genius. I mean, he sees it, and he's calling it out as it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
And I enjoy that. I like that, right? Finally, somebody on the left is saying it, and we need people like that on the right. It's turned into a freaking clown show. You've got a leader of the free world in Biden who's absolutely, non-existent. I mean, he can't think for anything. And now you have Jerry Springer in the House.
For sure. And Fetterman said he apologized for that because that was an insult to Springer.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great tweet.
That was a great tweet.
Yeah. And then AOC immediately goes after him.
And of course she does, right?
Yeah, you're the problem. You're one of the problems.
You are the problem. And they're all battling back and forth right now.
Yeah, they're all the problem.
They all just need to shut the hell up and start getting stuff done for the American people, right? I mean, do what you're there to do. And I get that you're trying, but you can't because you're being battled every which way. Yeah. AOC is, I mean, if you think AOC is this like harbinger of truth and a hero, speaking power or truth to power and all that, what she's saying, I mean, that girl's dumber than a bag of rocks. And I don't care if that sounds brash or mean or whatever.
You're going to be called sexist.
I don't care if you even think that's sexist.
If a guy acted like that, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't.
And there's a bunch of them there that do.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene with that comment, dumber than a bag of rocks.
Yeah.
Why are you? Personal attacks are disgusting in the House. You should never be resorting to physical appearance, personal attacks.
In a meeting. Like, I don't care whatever you put on Twitter or whatever.
It's ridiculous, right? Twitter,
in a hearing.
Do your own thing. But
in
a
hearing,
absolutely not. And honestly, when AOC came back and she said, I want to have those comments taken down, yeah, they probably should have been, right?
Yeah, she even agreed to it.
Yep, should have been taken down.
But then said that she wasn't intelligent enough to debate her.
Yep.
Which may be true.
It probably is
again,
true.
What are you doing? You're just instigating another one.
Here's the thing, and this shows inexperience and immaturity on AOC's part. Ooh, baby girl, don't play. Don't even play. If you're going to all of a sudden take it to the streets, because that's what she said, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to go that route, you're losing already. You're making yourself look
you've
terrible.
already lost.
You've already lost. And
we've talked about this.
Both sides. There's no winner in this. Both sides lose in this situation because they're acting like absolute freaking fools.
As soon as you start acting like garbage, you've lost.
If you're acting like trash, you've lost. Then you've lost your support, a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
That you're supposed to be there working for the people. You're supposed to be representing us. And it doesn't seem like that's happening anymore. It just seems like your side has an agenda, a playbook, and the other side has an agenda and a playbook, and we're watching, a freaking football game play out, and we're in the fourth quarter, and it's a close game, and everybody's at each other.
Not even a football game. It's like powder puff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where we're going. I don't know what we're doing. I look at every step of government, every branch of government, everywhere you look, it's just like, I don't think there's leadership in any of it. It's like the blind leading the blind, a village of idiots, both sides.
It's crazy. Well, you can look at, yeah, you're right, both sides. There's so many videos and these advisors that don't know what they're talking about at all. And it's terrifying.
Yeah. Mayorkas, that guy he either hates this country or has no idea. I don't even know that guy even read the job description, let alone learned what he was supposed to do, because it seems like he's fallen down at every chance. It's every chance he can to prop Biden up and tear down Trump or open up the border and get rid of a policy. He's taking it. You look at the military. The military has been structurally weakened beyond belief. You look at...
just look at the COVID stuff that they did.
Yeah.
Kicking people out for not getting the vaccine that, turns out nobody should have gotten it.
Yep. It's a hard sell, right? I mean, we have the best military on the planet, and that's because of our training. That's because of the ethos that we put into our soldiers. That's because we tear them down and build them up from scratch. We have the best equipment, the best technology, with the best soldiers, the best trained soldiers in the world. Marines, airmen, sailors, doesn't matter. We have the best in the world. You're starting to see a shift. You're starting to see this kinder, softer, gentler, DEI military that's coming out. That's not what you're supposed to do with your military, right? I mean, and that to me, like, I've talked with a lot of buddies who are out and some that are still in, and the shift is almost too much. The training hasn't changed all that much. The training still is the same, but it's the mentality behind the training that's changed, right?
Right.
That mentality was the mentality of no matter what, at the end of the day, we're not there to support ourselves in a cause. We're there to support a document, right? And you always had, when I was in, you always had the belief that your commander-in-chief had the best interests for the nation. And you don't get to question. Like, I was apolitical in the military, as almost everybody should be. You don't have a side. You shouldn't.
No, it's whoever supports you.
Yep. You're there to do what your commander-in-chief says, and you have to have the faith and the confidence in your commander-in-chief that he's doing the right thing, and it's not an agenda, and it's not a decision that benefits him personally or his family personally, or it's just got to be it's got to be something that you can get behind. I don't know, looking at what I went through with the war on terror, all my deployments and everything there, I don't know that I could get behind anything right now coming out of this nation, unless it involved going after, terrorist organizations, terrorist cells, and things like that. Stuff that I know of, that I'm used to doing, right? Like,
sure.
I don't know that you could tell me, we're going to go fight Russia because it's the right thing to do right now. And I don't know that I could support that. I don't know that I could jump in line and be like, oh, really? What have they done to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't trust this administration. So I don't know. I don't know where that leaves us. It definitely leaves the military at a weaker point, and you're starting to see, like, the diversity, equity, inclusion, all that movement in the military, and that's hot trash for the military. The transgender movement in the military, I know you don't want me to say it. You're already starting to look at me like, don't do it.
No, I don't mind we've got stuff on the transgender stuff.
You can't have it in the military. And I don't mean like I don't support trans people doing their thing. By all means, do your thing. But the problem with trans in the military at this point, at this juncture, is that we're still fighting a war on terror. They think we're the greatest infidel on the planet. They think that we're perverts. This is the stuff their imams and their clerics say in mosques to garner support, right? If you take a single trans soldier overseas, get in a fight, say in Fallujah, like what happened in Fallujah when we lost Fallujah originally. It wasn't because of anything like that. It was because we went in there and we were too hard and we killed some people that we weren't supposed to kill in firefights, and the whole area erupted into a hotbed, and all of a sudden we had the big clear on Fallujah, right? Replace that with this religious cleric saying, the West is filled with perversion. The West is filled with infidels. We need to get rid of them. They're the great Satan. That's what they call. That's what they're saying. Those are the things they were saying back then. Okay? Now imagine you take over Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney shows up acting like Dylan Mulvaney and shoots a well-respected, traveled religious cleric over in the Middle East. What the hell do you think is going to happen? They will point the finger immediately and say, everything we have told you about this country, everything we've told you about the West is true, and we've proved it. They are the infidel. They are the great Satan. You're going to create ISIS 5.0, not 2.0. So you have to understand, like, the culture you're fighting. Sure, you can have transgender in the military. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. I'll fight next to anybody. If you can pick up a freaking rifle and you can put on a ruck and hump the weight and you can fight, I don't care. I don't care if you're a female. I don't care if you're trans. I don't give a crap who you are. You can do the job. You can do the job. However, there's ramifications to that. And the ramifications are, now I have to go fight for another 20 years. Now my kids are going to have to fight. Your kids are going to have to fight. Because we just created, when I was there, I'm sure I created 10 years worth of terrorists, right? You kill somebody's dad, well, that kid's now probably going to hate you for the rest of his life. He's going to hate you. So now you have him who hates you, and probably his sons that are going to hate you, or daughters. Well, multiply that by 30, 40,000, right? Because now it's a cleric. Everybody loves them. So, I mean, you have to look at the situation in totality and figure it out. Sure, you want to send transgender people to go fight in Europe, by all means, go fight Russia. I don't care. That's perfect. Russia doesn't have the same mindset that we do. They're pretty open. They don't have the same mindset as the Middle East does towards us.
Right.
That works fine. But you have to have limitations. And you can't do it just to make everything equal. The military is not equal. It's never been equal. It shouldn't be equal.
Right.
Those that can hack it, they hack it. You don't string along and baby along people that can't hack it mentally, because in the middle of a fight they break down and now you're in danger, and your parents have to have a funeral for you because so and so was coddled along and they couldn't hack it in the middle of a firefight when stuff started to get pretty tough, right? So it's never been equal, and it's designed that way on purpose, and it should have stayed that way. You shouldn't get all this crap involved, the DEI. You shouldn't make people judge each other on race, color, creed, whatever. I mean, it's the only place I've ever been where I'm in a room with a kid from Compton, a kid from Puerto Rico, a kid from Mexico, myself from the Midwest, a kid from California, and a kid from New York, and there's no politics. There's absolutely zero politics. All there is brotherhood. You don't care about any of the other stuff. You're apolitical. All you do is you're learning about them as people. You learn about their families. You don't care about any of the other stuff. And that's what combat does. That's what this does. And now we don't see that. We're not seeing it. We're seeing the other side of this, which is activism within the military. And that's a bad thing. All right, I'm done. I've destroyed the podcast we're getting canceled, but I don't care. I can't.
You can't cancel us. We don't have anything.
That's absolutely true. But can you get canceled before you start? I mean, this is like
I guess that's impossible, right?
Episode 3?
Yeah, but they haven't heard the first one yet because we can't edit. We're terrible.
We are struggling.
Yeah, speaking of that, sorry, this sounds terrible on a couple of them. We're working on it. We'll get better.
Well, for a couple of guys who just want to vent, who don't think our voices aren't being heard. No. I mean, maybe in a podcast somebody will hear us, but not
every
by
once in a
else.
while somebody will stumble across it.
I'm sick of frickin' well, we've talked.
Do whatever you want.
I'm sick of the BS. There's so much bullshit in this.
That's how this happened. That's how this started.
Yeah, I'm just tired of
Talking on a late night shift.
Yeah, the 12-hour shift is a long time.
Yeah, at 3 in the morning, it's crazy talk.
Yeah,
sometimes it gets a little too real.
Yeah, you do stuff like this. Like, hey, let's have a podcast. Let's see if
get on Amazon and just order everything.
Right. Hey, you just buy the stuff.
Now we have to do it.
Yeah, you have to justify it. You have to at least pay this back.
At least for a couple weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's I'm tired of the crap, though. I can tell you that. I'm tired of being strung around with our bosses being on our side.
Thank you. I still need my job.
I was going to say our boss's hands being tied just like everybody else's. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's so unsure at this stage of the game at all levels, man. I don't know. I don't speak for anybody, right? I speak for myself, but it just seems like any situation that comes up, everybody's got their hands tied, and their hands are tied because we've transitioned maybe from what we were to what we're turning into. And a lot of us are just not on board, man. Like, I just want to go to work and make money and be recognized and rewarded for going to work and making money and not have to put up with any of the BS that goes along with it.
Doing a good job.
Yeah.
Doing your job.
Do your job, man. Go to work. Show
Making
up.
others better.
Show up to work first. How about that? Can we get people to show the frick up to work and just do your job and leave all the bull crap out of it? Let us do our job. Let our bosses do their damn job. Let our bosses do their job, and just stop being so political with every frickin' thing that we do or have to do. Can we just leave politics out of,
No.
Just leave it in frickin' Washington. Can we just do that?
Can't.
I know. It's driving me insane.
It's not just Washington anymore.
I know. It's driving me insane. As soon as the corporate Target, we're going to be political, and sporting stores, ESPN, we're going to be political. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, just show me sports, please. That's all I want.
Yeah,
if I want to watch something political, I'd turn on MSNBC or Fox or whatever side I want to listen to.
I don't need to hear your freaking soapbox.
I just want the highlights. Just play me the top 10, please, and the top 10, because the not top 10 was the best.
They're pretty great. I'm so sick of it, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a sign that I'm unwilling to change. I don't know.
I think you're just getting older.
Well, sure. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I think when maybe I'm becoming more like my father, I guess. Well,
that's your girls, right? Like your kids. Like they're getting older. Like even I've noticed, like with mine, they're so much younger than yours that I just feel I can see that change. Even with my wife, like we talked about the other day. Like I don't know. It terrifies me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I know it's coming, and I'm resistant. I'm holding off, and I'm hoping that at some point sanity returns.
It's got to.
I'm hoping.
Well, it's not even like the majority of people, right? But the majority of people are too afraid to say anything, which is again why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Just to get people to like stop being afraid.
Well, and I don't know.
Don't let the loud, very, very big or very small, I guess, minority of the group.
The silent majority needs to stop being silent.
Yeah, you can't be silent anymore. You can't let them bully you into this.
Yep, you have to just tell them I've had enough.
You can't eat at restaurants. You can't do all this stuff. All these people that they don't leave you alone until you say whatever they want you to say.
It's like. So I was wearing a jacket, right, with American flag on the shoulder. I'm a previous combat guy, so I like to have a flag on my shoulder. My bad. But it was our work jacket, right?
Yeah.
And this kid comes over, and we had the
puppy needed to move.
She's in a dream right now.
Is she?
Yeah. She's like, I'm chasing the ball.
Chasing the ball.
It's my German Shepherd. I love that dog.
Yeah, that dog's awesome.
But I was at a gas station, and down the road from where we live, there's a concert venue, and they were having a concert, like an event there. There's concerts and like a craft beer sale and like all sorts of stuff. So I got my wife and my kids in the car, and we're pumping gas, and I'm pumping gas, and this kid shows up, and there's like 5 of them. And he's got on like this black jacket, and he's got like eyeliner on, and his fingernails are black, and he comes up to me, and he tries to rip the flag off my jacket, and what really ticks me off is it was a vinyl patch flag, like an IR flag, infrared flag, which was like a subdued flag. It's not your red, white, and blue. It's black and subdued colors. And it's got a vinyl part of it that's, glued onto the actual patch with the Velcro, and he ripped the vinyl part of it off of the Velcro. And I was like, what are you doing? And he basically said, I'm trying to get rid of that symbol of oppression. And I looked at this kid, and I was like, what in the hell are you talking about? And he went on. He launched into his tirade of, people like me support Trump, and we're the cause of all the problems in the world, and we're misogynists, and we're fascist, and all this other stuff. And he went on to call Trump a puppet of Putin and all this crap, and just kept going on and on and on.
Hillary's real good at her messaging.
Yeah, she is. And meanwhile, I don't go anywhere without a firearm. Call it PTSD or whatever, call it training. I don't care. I'm a smaller individual, 5'8", 5'9", 185 pounds dripping wet. I'm not going to frickin' get into anything if I can avoid it, right? But if some 6'5" monster of a man wants to frickin', end my life, well, I got to defend myself, and it's not going to be me. It's going to be him, right? So I carry this thing everywhere, especially with the crime rates, what they are now around here. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, how do I get myself into these situations? Like, it just happens. And this kid goes on, and then finally he turns, and he calls his buddy comrade. And I look over, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And this kid looks at me, and I'm like, are you serious right now? And the kid's like, what? I'm like, have you ever read a freaking book, you moron? Like,
yeah, dude.
Trump is a puppet of Putin. I'm a puppet of Trump. And Putin is the ex-KGB president of the former Soviet Union. Basically, he's trying to restore. And he's a diehard, wishes he could reinstate communism. And you're calling me the dumb one? And your buddy's communist? Like, so I asked this kid, I'm like, you just call him comrade? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so you're a communist? And the kid's like, is there something wrong with that? And then I launched on this kid. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You're the dumbest person I've met.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
We're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
And he just was shocked. He couldn't figure it out. And I went through that whole spiel. Putin, connection to Trump, me, a Trump supporter. So obviously I'm supporting Putin because, Putin's KGB.
He wants communism.
We're all on the same team then, huh? You moron. I guess you should pick up a book then. And he just, the dumbfounded look on this kid's face.
Couldn't follow.
He didn't understand. He couldn't figure out how I just said this thing to him. And that's You see that everywhere now. You see it like college campuses. What are you protesting? Oh, the occupation of Palestine. Well, what happened to Israel for this to happen? I don't know. Well, the genocide happening in Palestine. Well, when was that? Well, they've always been, killing Palestinians. Really? Are they? Well, how long has Israel been in Palestine? Oh, since forever. Well, no, actually, they left in 2008. Did you know that? Did you know that they gave Palestine to Palestine? No, I didn't know that. Did you know that Palestine killed 3,500 Israelis? No, I didn't know that. Like, these kids don't even know what they're doing. They're doing it because somebody somewhere decided it was the cool thing to do. And as kids do, they follow, man. They're jumping in line and following. And they feel like they've got some power. Why? Because we're staying silent. Because their parents aren't slapping the shit out of them and being like, hey, you know what? You better frickin' come back to your senses. I'm not paying for your school. I'm not paying for you to do this. You either buck up and figure it out on your own or you stop this bullcrap. That's called parenting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. And the stuff like we talked about last time, blocking roads and people just sitting and honking. No, get your ass out of your car, go drag them off the road, and make there be a consequence for them being an asshole. At some point, we have to get back to that, right? I mean, I'm not saying be violent. I'm not saying hurt people. I'm not saying, but at some point, you have to stop this BS and stop taking the crap that everybody's trying to give us. And we just have to start being honest and stop being afraid. And we're getting to that. I'm getting to that point where I'm just like, I don't care. You do you, but as long as it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, just don't affect me
or
my family.
I will call you whatever you want me to call you.
Correct.
I will use whatever pronoun you want me to use. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
It doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I will do that for you if that's what's going to make you feel better. However, do not go into the bathroom while my daughter's in the bathroom.
Correct.
I don't want to see somebody with a beard looking like he just freaking came out of a lumberjack event in a dress going into the bathroom following my daughter. Like, that to me makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And if you can't understand why that makes me nervous, that's because you're crazy. And if you think I'm a misogynist or I'm, a transphobe or homophobe because I don't want this guy going into the bathroom with my daughter, fine, I'll take it. I'll wear it. Don't go into that bathroom with my daughter.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
That's all I'm asking. And, we'll call it what it is. I'm not ready for your change as much as you're ready for your change. I will respect you out of respect for you. You treat me the way you want to be treated. I'll treat you the way I want to be treated. But we have to come to some sort of middle ground and be honest about it. You screaming at me and calling me a name isn't going to help your cause, right? It's not. And me screaming at you and calling you a name isn't going to help my cause.
You do that every night at work.
Just to you.
But, I mean, less screaming, just name calling.
Yeah, but only you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wait. It is only me.
Oh, dang it. We're off the rails.
Dude, it's never going to be on the rails.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I woke up frustrated, I guess.
Yeah, it happens. I think it's the funny part is like looking up stories or seeing stories and printing them or sending them to each other. It's making me angrier. Right? Like,
well, you're seeing more.
Well, you're looking for it now.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get both sides and looking at the disgusting takes one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, how is this allowed to keep going? How are we allowing this to keep going?
I don't know. I feel like
you're never going to get control of Congress, right? You're never going to because you don't vote for everyone. You vote for your rep. Right. Which is why the state rights thing is so important. If you don't like the way that you have more of an impact on your state, your local community, than you do on the federal, because everybody in the country is voting for one person.
Right. And it almost seems like good ideas aren't rewarded anymore. And, when is the last time that a law was passed, anything was passed in the House that had bipartisan support that was actually decent?
I think there was one, but it was not like a law. It was just
like a budget. No,
it wasn't. Not at all. It was like a statement of something. I can't remember what it was. We'll look it up for next time.
It
was like, we condemned this. It was something completely obvious, and still, 38 people voted against it. Like, you can't even do that.
They just tried to pass the whole, if you're an illegal and you attack a police officer, you're going to be deported. And there was 46 or 60 something people that voted against that.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can't find support in that.
Yeah.
That if you're not here legally, you've come here illegally, and you attack a law enforcement officer, we can't deport you. You don't even support that. Like, and that's the thing. Everybody's so far entrenched on one side or the other. How do you ever like come back to the middle?
You can't unless you have more parties.
Yeah.
You have to have like 3 to 5 parties.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you
have to.
I just
you have to have the middle.
That'll never happen.
And then you have to have moderates on either side of the middle that will work with the middle.
That'll never happen in this country. And then
you're two extremes.
It's never going to happen because...
No, they have control. They control everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
The two parties are the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's a uniparty at this point. I mean, you've got your Tea Party on one side.
They control the debates. They control the funding for candidates. They control all of it.
Yeah. That's the problem, right? I mean, so if you have no power, I mean, you're voiceless. I mean... That's kind of where we're at with what we're seeing. I mean, so...
Look at RFK is almost at 20% polling. Plus 15, I believe.
Yep.
He's qualified for the debates. What do? They're going to change the rules of the debate so he doesn't get in.
So he can't debate. Well,
and who's in charge of that? The GOP and the DNC meet and decide. And they don't want either.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this election cycle, who's going to be there, but I could see RFK being a third party, and he's going to steal a decent amount from Trump and a decent amount from Biden.
I hope so. I hope so. Even then, like Gary Johnson was with the Libertarian, he got the most votes out of since Ross Perot, right? Ross Perot's gotten the most.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do anything. Like the Libertarian Party's still not.
No, it's not.
But their convention, they've got RFK coming to it. They've got Trump coming. They're at least getting heard because they know that with the 3 people running, they're going to need to get these other groups to not just we're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Even though they've got their own candidate that they're putting up.
It's the whole thing's a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen? When it was Bernie and Biden, Bernie was leading in everything.
Yeah.
And then they got to their convention, and then it was, Biden's our guy, right?
Well, the same thing they did with Bernie with Hillary.
Yep. So, I mean, they shut down...
They changed the rules.
They picked their guy.
That's when the superdelegates came in, and then all of a sudden you needed a superdelegates. Well, who are the superdelegates? Well, they're all the Clinton campaign people.
So, I mean, they're controlling the destiny of their own. I mean, and power keeps power. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just wish there was some legitimacy to Washington. Then there's just not.
There's not. There never will be.
I don't know. Never. I'm not going to say there never will be. It has to start It has to start with us, blue collar people, average people, finally standing up and saying enough's enough.
Enough's enough. Vote out every single person.
Yep. And the cool thing to me is that I think you're starting to see the inner city communities wake up and realize what's going on. They're sick of being played. You're starting to see a lot of more low-income people on whether it doesn't matter race or ethnicity. They're starting to wake up and see what's going on. There's nothing being done to benefit anybody. It doesn't matter if you're middle class. It doesn't matter if you're low income. It doesn't matter if you're in the inner city. What's being done to benefit you? Is it the crime rate?
It's Trump's pitch to him last time, right? Look, it hasn't worked for you yet.
What the hell have you got to lose?
It hasn't worked for you.
My thing here is, what can you do to fix anything in the inner city that needs to be fixed? Democrats, all they do is they jump on an activist bandwagon. Some cop shoots somebody. The George Floyd tragedy happens, and they take that and they run with it. They never fail to miss a tragedy. It's just like every mass shooting. Never fail to miss a tragedy. They do the same thing. Their strategy afterwards is, okay, guns are bad. We're going to get rid of every gun because we want total control of everything. And the same thing with when a police shooting happens. Okay, all cops are bad. Oh my God, we need a complete systematic reformation. Well, yeah, you do, but that systematic reformation comes all the way from the days of slavery, which was Democrat-led, all the way to Jim Crow, which was Democrat-led, all the way, back to KKK, Democrat-led, all the way up to now, even 1991, 92, whatever it was, the crime bill with Biden, still Democrat-led, and even now with welfare policy still keeping people poor.
The crime bill was Biden's.
Yeah. I mean, you look at what's been done, and I'm glad finally people are starting to wake up. And the biggest thing to me is, You see the swampy Republicans, they didn't touch it. They were perfectly fine with letting Democrats really keep the inner city under their thumb and use them, give them nothing in return, let them fall behind. And now the audacity of the Democrats to say, your white privilege is what set you apart from, a black kid in the inner city community. No, it's not my white privilege. It's your goddamn policies that set us apart. Yeah. You have done everything you could possibly do to systematically destroy those families in the inner city community. You've kept them under the thumb. You've kept their school systems bad. You've not done anything for them. And then you got a guy like Trump, which everybody knows Trump's pragmatic and arrogant, and that's just who he is, right? It's hard to believe,
Yeah.
But he comes in and he's like, school choice, and then you're still saying on the Democrat side, no school choice. Well, yeah, you can't afford that because you don't want those kids to leave and go get better education.
Right.
And it's like every step of the way, and I'm glad people are finally starting to recognize it. And the Republicans that never caught on, that never brought that forward, that never wanted to put the truth out there, they did that because there is no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. It's a power vacuum. It's a structure, and they want to keep it.
They just want it.
Now you have a far right, or not, I wouldn't even call it a far right, but you have a section of Republicans that are finally starting to call it out. You have like Candace Owens out there saying stuff. You got...
Yeah, we even call them far right.
They're not far right. I mean, those are just, in terms of like...
they feel far right because
they're being called far right.
Right, because they're more moderate than...
Well, it's not even that they're moderate. They're speaking the truth. And the truth in Washington is a disease. You don't want the truth to come out because everybody in Washington is so damn corrupt. When the truth comes out, it's scary, right? That's why Trump was a wrecking ball and they didn't want him there. I mean, he started telling you the truth about Washington. He started showing the trade deals that were disgusting. He started showing you all the weaknesses that we had, and people didn't want to hear it. Well, now you're making me look bad as an employee of the government.
Forever.
Right. But, I mean, you have people like Candace Owens and people like Charlie Kirk, and you have all these, the Ben Shapiro's and the Tucker Carlsons and Joe Rogan's and all these guys that are finally starting to tell the truth and not be afraid to tell the truth. And that's kind of like a new revolution that needs to take place. You're starting to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm still frustrated with the rest of the Republicans who have not caught on to this. And that just shows you how corrupt they are, how swampy they are. They still want to be establishment because the establishment provides them with what they have. It's the cushy job afterwards. It being a lobbyist. It's the book deals. It's the whatever else that's going to happen. It's the hundreds of millions or whatever you're making if you're Nancy Pelosi, you're Maxine Waters, you're Adam Schiff, you're freaking Mitch McConnell. You're making tons of money in insider trading because you know what's coming down the pipeline. So
yeah. The Nancy Pelosi stock trader.
Right.
Which isn't just Nancy anymore.
No, it's definitely not.
Every day it's somebody else.
The stuff her husband does, like, oh my gosh, he's making deals. And
it's amazing that he can pick the companies that get the government contracts without talking to her.
Right.
No, we don't talk about it. Oh, really? Every trade that you've done, you've never picked a company that didn't get a government contract.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you do, right? I mean... We'll go to the polls, we'll elect who we want to elect, and you're right, at the state level you can have some sort of effect. At the national level it doesn't feel like you have any effect. You're just hoping and praying that the people you put in power on a national scale go there and do the right thing, and it's getting less and less. And anybody who goes there to do the right thing seems like they get ostracized and labeled and called names, and the media hates them, and I don't know, it's all BS at this point, man. I don't know. What do you do?
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
we just vent.
That's it. And we're caught in the middle, right? Like, if I have to go to the grocery store again, I went there yesterday and bought chicken, 3 packs of chicken. I bought a box of instant rice, and I bought some peas and some carrots and an onion to come home and make chicken fried rice, right? It's like my 15-year-old's favorite thing in the world is when I make chicken fried rice in the Blackstone.
Yeah.
It's like her favorite thing. It's $120.
Yeah.
$120 for that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
$120 for 10 things? That's ridiculous. I mean, that's where it's at. I mean, okay, well, I guess I won't spend any more money until next paycheck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. We talked about this last time. Like, I gotta go to the grocery store tomorrow, and I'm like, it's gonna be another $300.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to Nancy Pelosi. It makes a difference to us. I don't know. It's getting frustrating, bro.
For sure.
What do you want to talk about now?
I don't know. You want to end this one?
I don't even feel like we really talked about it. It was just me yelling, me screaming.
Yeah, you were screaming at me.
Yeah.
It's like at work.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
It's all right.
That's
part. I just realized that today.
Part of the shtick.
I guess it hasn't really bothered me.
Everybody's got a thing.
Yeah. Hey, we don't kink shame.
Yeah. Everybody's got a thing.
Right on.
Well, I guess. Well, thanks for putting up with my rant.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
it's my pleasure.
Yeah. It looks like it. You had all these aspirations and plans for this thing, and I probably just...
I do, but we can do another one later.
I think, what do you want to talk about on the next episode?
I think we talk about the Chicago Teachers Union.
That is...
Their demands, $50 billion.
Yeah, dude, that is...
For a contract, $50 billion.
That's very... With a B.
Billion with a B. It's a lot of... that's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, well, let's do that again, maybe on the next one, huh?
Yeah, right on.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Sorry for the rant, but sometimes I just feel like we got to start talking about the true stuff that's out there.
It's all good.
All right, buddy.
You guys can go to our website. It's bluecollartakes.com. And we got some social sites. You can find them on there.
Yeah, start following. Hopefully this thing grows, because...
Hopefully. We can get off night shift.
Yeah. Please go to our website. All right. Well, I think that's good for now.
Yeah.
Everybody take care. Thanks for listening.
See ya.